Greetings everyone, welcome to ChessAdvancedd. This game was played in FIDE World Cup. This is the second round. This is the second round of the FIDE World Cup, but the thing is that it's the second game of that round. And now with the white pieces, we have Arjun Erigaisi, who won his first round, and now his opponent Martin Petrov is going to have to, if he needs to force tie breaks, he's going to have to win this one with the black pieces on demand. So Arjun has to be careful with the white pieces. So let's see what he starts with. He goes for c4. This is the English opening. We have knight to f6, knight to c3, and just e5. The two knights variation, knight to f3 and just knight to c6. So we transpose into the four knights and just d4, just trying to go for the center, asking for more trades that happen here. Arjun would be very happy because all he needs is a draw. Here just e caps on d4 was played. Now just comes knight captures, bishop to b4, and here just g3. We have bishop caps on c3, b captures, but now just coming for this knight to a5, trying to go after this pawn because this has not been played, and now just e4 in this position, even giving up the central pawn. So what will Arjun have here in this position if he gives up the pawn? Here knight caps on e4 was played, but now just comes this bishop to g2. First, very nice move because now you are attacking the knight, so knight needs to move, and now just going for this queen to e2 check, so allowing more trades to happen. And this is just move 10. So here queen to e7, and in this position Arjun just trades the queen as well. Queen captures, king captures, and here he goes for c5 because he doesn't want to give up the pawn, and that he did absolutely right. Here d5 was played, but now just comes c caps on d6 en passant, and here we have c caps on d6 and also creates a weakness in black's camp, and here just goes for rook to b1. Doesn't even castle, although you could castle in this position and your position should be fine, but rook to d8, and then after bishop to g5 you just play d5, but you have rook f to e1 check, king goes back, and after this rook to e5 your position should be really nice because you are putting some pressure. You can capture this and pick up the pawn, so you're gonna have to defend it either with a move like this, but even if you go for there, then I can just trade that and I can win another pawn. So here bishop to g4 if you try to go for, then just comes bishop caps on f6, g captures, rook captures, and bishop captures. More trades happen. I'm a very happy man because all I need is a draw to be able to kick you out of the tournament. So that's all there is to it. But here after c caps on d6, just rook to b1 was played by Arjun. Arjun doesn't go for that check or castles in this position. Here bishop to d7, and now just comes castles. Finally we have bishop to c6 challenging the pawn. And would you be interested in actually just going for this knight captures and just having a very nice position? Well, Arjun goes for the best move in this position. He doesn't go for this knight capture, neither does he play this bishop captures. Knight caps on c6 is the third best move recommended by the engine, but still here rook to e1 check, and now attacking the king, and just king to d7. When in this position you can go for this knight to f5, and the thing is that once bishop caps on g2 occurs, then after king captures your position should be really nice because now you are attacking this pawn, and if you go for anything than that, then this is also falling, so your position is not really at all good. And with the weaknesses in black's camp, it's become very evident that Arjun can win this game if he goes for knight to f5. But first he goes for this bishop caps on c6 and just b captures, and now he goes for knight to f5. So he attacks both of these pawns. Obviously you cannot defend them both, so here just rook to e8 was played, giving up both of them and allowing Arjun a choice which pawn you want to capture first. Here he doesn't capture either. He just goes for this rook to d1, just attacks this pawn, and now just going for this knight to d5, defending against it. But here just knight caps on d6. He's like, give me the pawn and I'm just gonna win the game. Here rook to e6 attacking the knight, and here you can go for this move, but it's a very scary move because now you can go for this knight caps on f7. Yes, you can grab a pawn, and if you like grabbing pawns, you can just go for that. Here king to e8, and after this knight to g5, first attacking the rook. Once the rook moves, now you go for this bishop to a3, just develop the bishop, connect rooks, and your king is stuck in the center. Your rook maybe a little bit active, but there is a thing called as being too active, and you cannot even go for this knight caps on c3. If you try this knight caps on c3 and just trying to go for this, then I have rook to e1, and you're not in time to capture this because of this. And if you try to go for anything other than that, play a waiting move like c5, then just comes bishop caps on c5. I don't care. King to d7, and after rook caps on e2, knight captures, just picking to f1, attacking the knight, and knight doesn't have as many squares to go to. You most likely play this knight to c3, but still the position is very much winning for me, and you cannot do anything about that. And most likely here Arjun should have gone for this because the position, even here, I think the best thing that black can hope for is a draw in this position. And even that would not be enough. So Arjun could have gone for all of this, but instead he just goes for this knight to b7 check, allowing more trades to happen, and he just knight caps on b7. We have c4 now, first pinning this and going for this. You could have also gone for this rook captures and your position should have been fine as well, but Arjun decides to do it this way. He just knight to d6 and now just comes c captures, and just bishop to f4 in this position. You could, if you're thinking about why not just grab this pawn, I mean, it's a free pawn, why aren't you just grabbing it? Well, you can grab this, rook captures, and yes, you first go for king to e8 because it's always better to unpin first, and after this bishop to a3. Now just trying to just attack that knight, you just play this rook to d8 defend, and after this rook to b4, knight to e4, and after rook to a5, just trying to go after the pawns. You have some pressure here. The rooks, although being on open file, still don't have that much pressure, and although you could play something like this somewhere in the future once the rook moves, but now you're not in time. And if you try to play a waiting move, just king to g2, and my position is absolutely amazing. g6, I just play bishop to c1, just remaneuver this, and secure that. My rooks are very active. Most likely the best result you can hope for with the black pieces like this is just a draw, and draw is sufficient for me. So here after c caps on d5, just bishop to f4 was played, and now just comes this king to e7, but here just rook captures on d5, finally grabbing that. And here in this position you have to be very careful, because the thing is that my rooks are very active and you are stuck here, and your king has to come out of its cage to be able to guard that knight. So it's not a good position, but finding the right idea is definitely important. And it's not like that Martin didn't have time in this position. He had like 10 minutes, and he should have calculated enough, because now the position could take a very devastating turn, and you have to be careful. The move that you want to play in this position is knight to c8. Yes, it looks like a very odd move, because not only you're just cutting off your rook from ever developing, you cannot even go here. So here after a move like rook to b7 check, yes, you allow that. King to e8, you play rook to e5, asking for more trades, because more trades happen. I'm a very happy person. Rook captures, bishop captures, you play g6 because you don't want that pawn to be grabbed, and now after this bishop to d4, now you just play a5 because you don't want that pawn to be hanging, because somewhere along the line you would want to develop that and get the rook into the game. But this was the best way, and maybe you would have held on to the position like this. But here after rook caps on d5, here just rook to d8 was played, and it's such a natural move as well. But you can see the engine evaluation spiking. And why is that? Because now you have a very nice move in this position which can grant you a very nice win. So here, pause the video and try to find this only winning move in this position. Well, you have two winning moves, but still one of the only winning moves in this position, so have at it. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move. The move is either bishop to g5 check, which will win, or you have bishop to e3, which was played in the game by Arjun. And if you're asking for what is the idea, well, I'm just about to show you. Hey, whatever you do, let's say you try to play the best move, which was played in the game, hey, king to e8, but now just comes this bishop caps on a7. And the thing is that you've just given me a free outside passer. So if I trade everything down, this endgame would be still winning for me. And that's the beauty of the outside passes. Hey, rook to 8 was played, now attacking that, and also trying to grab this. And you must be wondering, what do you do now? Well, you just go for this rook to b8 check, asking for a trade. A rook captures, bishop captures was played, and now if you allow this, I mean, this is completely over. Even if you try to defend it with king, I'll just happily capture it, and after rook captures, king captures, the endgame should be winning. But here just knight to c4 was played, and now just comes rook to c5, rook to b6, and just bishop to a7, and rook to b4 now, but now just going for rook to c7 in this position, trying to gobble up those pawns. And here in this position, just knight to e5 was played, defending, and also centralizing the knight. Also somewhere along the lines you may be hoping for some threats, but you have none. A rook to e7 check comes, and it's a beautiful tactic in this position, which further simplifies the position and just wins the game right on the spot here, because king captures was played. Now just comes this very nice check, and you cannot do anything. Hey, king to e6, bishop caps on b4, and now just comes g5, but have an outside passer. And it seems like, how do you even convert this? Well, it seems easy, but do I have some sacrifices? Can I sacrifice the knight for the outside passer and maybe I can hope to draw this game? Well, not really, because the thing is that it's just not going to be easy. Let's say you try to even play the best move here, bishop to c3 just completely ends the game, by the way. Here, if you try to go for knight to d3, I just play a4, I just push the pawn. If you try to go for g4, taking further space, not allowing my pawns to move, I just play king to f1, get the king out of the game. King to d7, king to e2, you have to go back because you need to be able to stop this, because your knight cannot do it all alone. Here, knight to c5 would be played most likely, I just play a5. And if you try to go for knight to e6, then just bishop to d2, I just push it, maybe just put it on a dark square, get the bishop here, and I can just infiltrate the position, and I can just win this game. And your king is gonna have to be suffering there on a8, stopping the pawn, and you don't want that to happen. So this would have ended right here. I mean, he could have resigned right here, but they decided to play it on because Arjun needs to prove that it's a winning position so he can win this. So here he goes for just f4, and we have g captures, and now just knight to c6 was played, attacking the bishop, but just bishop to d2, king to d5, king to f2, and just f5 in this position, trying to create a blockade. But there is no blockade in this position. It's completely winning. Here king to e3. Now this comes king to c4, but just a4 even. Knight to e7, a5, knight to d5 check, king to f3, and just king to b5. And here just king to g3, trying to go over to the other side of the board, trying to capture this. Knight to f6, and here just going for the king to h4. Knight to g4, h3 now, knight to f2, and just bishop to e3 in this position, attacking the knight. And we have knight to e4. But after this bishop to b6, it was on this move, on just move 48, that Martin Petrov resigned the game, and Arjun Erigaisi got the spectacular win, and he won the game in second round of the FIDE World Cup 2-0 against Martin Petrov. And now he's moving in towards the third round, and that's absolutely spectacular, and he's played these games to absolute perfection. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll be coming back with some of these amazing games, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.